Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever wanted to sound less like a tourist reading from a phrasebook and more like a seasoned, confident traveler, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to go on a little vocabulary journey of our own, one that's designed to make your next adventure sound as amazing as it feels. So, let's get right into it. So, first things first, let me ask you a question. Think about your last big vacation. Were you on a trip or were you on a journey? Now, you might think, what's the big deal? But trust me, getting the small detail right is the very first step to really mastering English for travel. Stick with me, and I promise you'll have the answer nailed by the end of this. All right, part one, hitting the road. We're going to start with those really dynamic, exciting phrases we use to kick off any great adventure. And what better phrase to start with than hit the road? It's just a classic, super common idiom that means, it's time to go. All right, the car's packed, let's hit the road. It feels active, it's got energy, and it is the perfect way to get things started. So once you've hit the road, you've got to make your way. This phrase is great because it suggests real progress and purpose. You're not just wandering around, you're actively moving toward your destination. It kind of implies there's a bit of effort involved, as you navigate from point A to point B. So why do we do all this traveling in the first place? Well, for a lot of us, the ultimate goal is to broaden the mind. And see, this isn't just about moving from place to place, it's about transformation. Travel introduces us to new people, new cultures, new food, new ideas. So the key here is that these phrases, they don't just describe an action, they really get to the heart of why we travel. Okay, on to part two, navigating the world. Now that we're on the move, let's talk about prepositions. Now, I want you to think of them as the GPS for your sentences. These tiny little words tell you exactly where you are and how you got there. Now, what's so fascinating here is how a tiny word can totally change the meaning and really show off how fluent you are. For example, you arrive in a large area, like a city or a country, so we arrive in Italy, but you arrive at a very specific point, like a building. We arrive at the train station. You travel by car, but you are on foot. See? Simple rules, but wow, they make a huge difference. And this illustrates that point perfectly. This example is brilliant. You're not in the coast or at the coast. You are physically located on the land, right where it meets the sea, on the coast. It's a small difference, I know, but it's one that sounds completely natural to a native speaker. Ooh, this is another fantastic phrase, off the beaten track. It just means a place is remote, kind of isolated, and definitely not crawling with tourists. It paints such a vivid picture of a hidden gem, doesn't it? A place you really have to make an effort to find. And just look at the power of this one. In the heart of the city. It doesn't just mean you're in the city. It means you are right at its core, the most vibrant, busy, bustling part. It gives you that feeling of being totally immersed in a place. Okay, now for what might be the most critical section, part three, avoiding travel word traps. We're about to navigate some of the most common vocabulary mistakes that can, trip up even experienced travelers. All right, let's dive into this, starting with that very first question I asked you. A trip is the whole shebang, the planning, flying there, the vacation itself, and the flight home. I'm planning a trip to Japan. The journey, on the other hand, is specifically just the part where you're traveling. The train journey through the mountains was beautiful. So the journey is just one part of the entire trip. Next up, what you see. The view is the general wide open scenery you get from one spot, like the amazing view from your hotel balcony. A sight, however, is a specific thing you look at, like the famous sights of Paris. So one is the whole panorama, and the other is a specific point of interest within it. Okay, this one is a big one. It trips up so many people. Luggage is the general word for all of your bags put together. It's uncountable, which means you can't say one luggage or two luggages. But a suitcase is a specific countable bag, so you can have two suitcases, and those suitcases are part of your luggage. Nailing this one will make you sound instantly more fluent, I guarantee it. Here's a great distinction that's actually really simple. Ruins are what's left of buildings or even whole cities, like the ancient ruins in Greece. A wreck is what's left of a vehicle, like a shipwreck or a car wreck. So buildings become ruins, vehicles become wrecks. Easy, right? So what happens when your plans get messed up? A delay is when something starts late because of an unexpected problem, like your flight being delayed by a storm. But a postponement is a planned decision to move something to a later date. So one is an unexpected problem, the other is a deliberate choice. Who are you with? A companion is simply a person you travel with or spend time with, your travel buddy. A colleague is someone from your job or your school. Now, sure, a colleague could be your traveling companion on a business trip, but the words themselves describe totally different relationships. This one's all about the plan versus the pavement. The road is the physical thing, the asphalt that you drive on. The route is the path you've planned to take to get where you're going. You might choose a scenic route that takes you along a dozen different roads. And finally, let's talk about verbs for getting around. It's all about the vehicle. Planes take off and land. That's all about air travel. But ships, they cast off when they leave the port and dock when they arrive. For instance, the ship will cast off at sunrise. Using the right verb just shows you really know your stuff. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground. So now, let's wrap it all up with your new expert travel lexicon. So if you're going to remember anything from today, let it be these 3 things. This is your ultimate travel cheat sheet. First, a trip is the whole vacation. The journey is just the getting there part. Second, remember those prepositions. You arrive in a country, but you arrive at the hotel. And third, luggage is all your bags together, while a suitcase is just one of them. Master these 3 and you are going to sound fantastic. And that brings us to the end of our little journey together. You are now officially equipped to talk about your adventures with way more precision and a whole lot more confidence. So, the only question left is the one right here on the screen. Now that you have the words, where in the world will they take you next? Thanks for joining me.